Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the third and final example game for our blue-white artifact aggro deck, I guess is what we're going to call it. So this is the opening hand. Again, you run into this situation where you've got land, which is great, but most of your hand is land, which is not so great. So there's a good chance you want to mulligan this. I kind of kept it just for the fact that, hey, I have land and I'm on the play. If I'm on a draw, then I feel a little more comfortable mulliganing down. But because I was not, I'm going to just stick with this and go. So again, you want to make sure you hold on to artifact lands and play those kind of last. You want to wait for something like the idol in place so that when you play it, it activates that instead of just putting it out there to put it out there. So things get much better. We have a Stormblade in hand, as you saw here, and on turn 2 we draw into our second Stormblade, so these two will feed off each other. We're going to put the first one into play on turn 2, and this means that on turn 3, when this one has its first chance to attack, we're going to be able to put this one out, and it's going to swing for 3-2 through the air. So Plains comes down, and second Stormblade is coming down, and we're going to attempt to attack. My opponent is clearly playing some form of mono-blue control, and does cast a boomerang to return that to my hand. But that's no worry, it's going to put us back one turn as far as our damage goes, but we are still going to be able to feed these off each other and be able to attack for 3. So things get more fun as we get a Mechanist, which will be great later on, but right now I want to really get this Stormblade going. This works out good too because we hit our 4-land drop. You see here I put down finally the artifact land because I wanted to have the mana available to use Accumulated Knowledge as well as the Stormblade if there was no need for me to use Momentary Blink. As it stands right now, I do have the Momentary Blink available to me, so if my opponent tries to do some other kind of boomerang effect yet again, I have an answer. So plays Mountain. He is playing clearly a blue-red control and throws down an Adept here who's going to be used to return one of my Stormblades. I guess it really doesn't matter which one, but in response to that I am going to get to cast the Momentary Blink, which is going to return it, and since this is in effect a new copy of Stormblade, it's going to kind of negate the fact that this Adept would have returned it to hand. So I will be able to attack this turn for 6 through the air, which is awesome. So down goes land number 5. We're going to swing first. Now you have a couple options here. You could play the Mechanist, or you could leave mana available to blink yet again through flashback, and accumulate knowledge if he chooses not to make a play. But I do want to get this Mechanist into play as soon as possible. My hand's getting a little small, so anything I can do to increase that is going to be great. Top of my library looks like this. We get another Accumulated Knowledge, which definitely sucks because getting that extra card draw would have been awesome. And we have the choice basically between the Ancient Den and another Stormblade. So obviously my choice is going to be the Stormblade. Gets revealed to my opponent, and this means that in order to negate this getting that extra power and toughness bonus as well as the flying, he's going to need to return 2 Stormblades. I'm going to have, if he does bounce one, have the ability to put, both of them into play on next turn. You see he does get another Adept coming down, so he is going to return it, but I am going to be able to replay both of these. This means I will only be able to attack with, 3 through the air with one guy, but at the same time, I'm putting myself in a position where he needs to, again, bounce 2 Stormblades in order to make the last remaining Stormblade down to a 2-1 yet again. So another added bonus here, as you see, is we get enough land that we can play both of those as well as leave mana open for this Accumulated Knowledge at the end of my opponent's turn as well. Just definitely worked out great that way. We're perfect on colors. We're sitting at 3 and 3, which is great. Opponent cycles off a Lonely Sandbar and then taps out to play Divination, so I will, in response, draw Accumulated Knowledge. This nets me into a Glint Hawk, which is great. This is going to give me the opportunity to return the Fairy Mechanist if I want to search for more cards. This also gives me a play to return the Gargoyle. If I had, an artifact in my graveyard and finally got to play the Gargoyle, I would have the opportunity to use the Glint Hawk to return this to my hand and use it yet again. But he taps out to play Divination. I'm assuming this was his only playable card, but it doesn't really matter because whatever he draws here, he is not going to be able to play since he is completely tapped out. And unfortunately for him, he has 2 creatures that are, non-evasion. So my 4 flying creatures are going to easily, swing over, and I could beat him down with just 2 left. So this was a fast game, and I wanted to showcase this one because I think it's a pretty good example of how this deck can work if you do not draw the shield mates. That was really kind of the foundation of starting this deck in the first place, but it doesn't always work out that way. Sometimes you have to go with the alternate plan. In this case, it would be Stormblade aggro, and these guys can just get really big really fast, and we have a lot of ways to, search, to return, and to protect. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed it.